Good morning, everyone. Bon matin tout le monde et merci. My name is Mark Butler. I'm the Director of Communications for Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, and it's my pleasure today to act as your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. But first of all, some house rules. The information that we'll be providing shortly is under embargo. We wanted you at the media to have an opportunity to learn and to ask questions before we release the information publicly. So I would ask you not to tweet, post, or otherwise electronically communicate until we finish this morning, probably around 11:30. We also have some media today who are joining us through WebEx and by telephone. And they have also agreed to keep the embargo. We are hosting this morning a simultaneous briefing for elected officials from both sides of the border. So they will also have the news to present to their communities as well. Once the information is released from embargo, I encourage you to use our dedicated hashtag HowBridge2018 in your tweets or other social media. Now, today's event includes an announcement followed by a technical briefing and a question and answer period. We will not be offering a media scrum in this room immediately following the technical briefing, but we are offering one-on-one interviews with Dwight Duncan, Andre Junot, and others from Bridging North America, and you can arrange that with Tara Carson, who's at the back of the room waving her hand. Now she's not waving, later on today. So at this point in time, I'd like to introduce the Chair of the Board of Directors of Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, Mr. Dwight Duncan.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, everyone. I'm delighted you're here with us today. Our bridge is named in honor of number 9, Gordie Howe, a hockey legend who personified the close ties that Canada and the United States share. Gordie was a proud Canadian who was equally proud to play for the Detroit Red Wings. He built extraordinary goodwill between Canada and the United States. He was a role model and ambassador to generations of fans and players on both sides of the border. Our new bridge, bearing his name, will continue this proud legacy by accelerating the flow of people, merchandise, and services between our great nations for years to come. The past few months have been busy, productive, and incredibly exciting for the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority. In July of this year, I had the privilege of announcing the selection of the WDBA's preferred proponent, Bridging North America, for the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. Just a few weeks later, I was proud to be with the then Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, Amarjeet Sohi, Governor Rick Snyder of Michigan, perhaps the greatest proponent of this project, and the U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Kelly Craft, at the start of advanced construction in Michigan. Today marks yet another milestone in the history of developing a new, state-of-the-art, environmentally sustainable border crossing at Windsor and Detroit. Today's announcement will answer two of the questions that I have been most asked by people in the communities on both sides of the border. The WDBA is committed to keeping all of our citizens and stakeholders in both countries well informed in an open and transparent fashion. And now the news that I think all of us have been waiting to hear. I'm pleased to announce that the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority has signed a contract with Bridging North America to become the WDBA's private sector partner to design, build, finance, operate, and maintain the Gordie Howe International Bridge. I would like to welcome Tom Middlebrook, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Dragados, Canada, who is here today representing Bridging North America, and thank him and his entire team for their hard work during the procurement process. Tom advised me today, and you know, it puts everything in context, how hard they've been working on this project for 3 years now. And so what you see today is the product of 3 years of work on their part. On behalf of the WDBA, let me say that we are looking forward to working with you, Tom, and your team as we build the Gordie Howe International Bridge together. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gordie Howe International Bridge is one of the largest infrastructure projects in North America. It will literally transform the landscape of Windsor and Detroit. It will encourage new investment in the region. The relationship between Windsor and Detroit, and further between Canada and the United States, is significant, and when we come together, great things happen. This project is one example of that, and this project will make all of us, every Canadian and American, proud. The Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority is committed to delivering the best and most beautiful crossing in the world. It is what the communities on both sides of the border have demanded, and quite frankly, it is what Windsor, Essex, and Detroit communities deserve. Today, I can confirm with you the fixed price value of the contract between the WDBA and Bridging North America. The contract, valued at 5.7 billion Canadian dollars, includes the design build phase, or DB phase, for the Canadian and US ports of entry, the bridge and the Michigan Interchange, and the 30-year operation, maintenance, rehabilitation phase of the ports of entry and the bridge. This is tremendous value considering the 125-year lifespan of the infrastructure and economic opportunity this crossing will provide to Canada and the United States. The contract with Bridging North America is not just fixed price, it is also outcome-based. This means that the WDBA has set the requirements and outcomes for the project and has agreed that Bridging North America will be paid the contract amount for delivering those requirements. This is good value for taxpayers. In fact, the value for money assessment completed by independent experts for our project estimates a cost savings of almost $563 million, or 10.7%, by using the P3 model as compared to a more traditional project delivery. Construction for one of the largest infrastructure projects in North America has already begun, with the bridge expected to be open to traffic by the end of 2024. Details of the contract cost and the construction timeline will be provided during the technical presentation. As I look around the room, I can recognize some of you who attended events related to the Right Honourable Herb Gray Parkway. You may recall August of 2011 when we celebrated the start of construction on that parkway. I said at the time that residents and businesses in Windsor, Essex would be proud of that magnificent road, and they are. I know that they will be equally proud to host yet another major infrastructure project. The Gordie Howe International Bridge project will provide a sizable boost to our local economies. Already, Bridging North America has leased office space, contracted services, and is currently advertising for more than 100 staff positions. And I'm told, Tom, that they anticipate hiring 350 people by the end of this year. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is only the beginning. Bridging North America anticipates the creation of 2,500 direct on-site jobs, including direct hires, subcontractors, and seconded individuals, as well as significant economic benefits that extend to the whole region. We will be working with Bridging North America and other experts to understand and then report on the true positive impacts that this project will have on our local economies and workforce. The communities on both sides of the border are ready for the new jobs, new investment, and new business opportunities that this project will generate. And together with our private sector partner, we are ready to help deliver those jobs and opportunities. As I said earlier in my remarks, I thank you for helping keep our communities informed, and I invite you to continue to spread the news. The Gordie Howe International Bridge is a reality, and it is happening right here, right now. The WDBA made a commitment to deliver the Gordie Howe International Bridge project, and today is the start of a new chapter for Windsor and Detroit, as well as for Canada and the United States. This project is a shining example of collaboration between our two nations. I look forward later in the program to answer any questions you may have. after the technical presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dwight. So the second part of today's event is a technical presentation, but before we get into that, we have a short video which is being produced by Bridging North America.
Welcome to the Gordie Howe International Bridge, the new gateway between Canada and the United States, and the longest cable-stayed bridge in North America. Bridging North America is excited to partner with the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority on this momentous infrastructure project, one that will not only contribute to the overall prosperity of the two countries, but will also provide long-term benefits to the local communities on both sides of the border. Bridging North America is composed of some of the world's largest and most successful international and local infrastructure developers who all bring their combined expertise to the Windsor-Detroit area. Bridging North America partners have built some of the most notable cable-stayed bridges around the world and some of the most complex infrastructure projects in Canada and the United States. Together, they will design, build, finance, operate, and maintain the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. With its 2.5 kilometers of length, 6 lanes, and a main span of 853 meters, the Gordie Howe International Bridge will be a state-of-the-art crossing that will provide an elegant, lasting, and iconic image which will form part of the future Windsor-Detroit skyline. Bridging North America's structural design achieves the highest standards of safety and long-lasting durability for the bridge. Its toll system solution will ensure continued performance and a smooth experience for future bridge users. The project includes the construction of 2 port of entry buildings to accommodate security and customs facilities on each side of the border. The buildings have been designed to be energy efficient and environmentally sustainable, and to provide for a safe, secure, and convenient border crossing. With the completion of the Michigan Interchange, the project will create a streamlined corridor from the existing Right Honorable Herb Gray Parkway in Windsor to the Interstate Highway 75 in the surroundings of Detroit. Making a positive and lasting difference in the communities that will be served by the project is at the core of Bridging North America's values. Members of Windsor and Detroit local communities will benefit through numerous initiatives and through engagement with the thousands of workers who will be required to complete the construction works and perform future maintenance services. The Bridging North America partners have made a 36-year commitment to the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority and to the governments of Canada and Michigan. This public-private partnership combines the strength of the world's industry leaders with the strengths of the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority to create a unique landmark project that both countries will be proud of.
We have this video plus a series of 15 short videos which are profiling subject matter experts on different aspects of the Gordie Howe International Bridge project, available on USB keys. You'll get one of those before you leave, and please feel free to use these for B-roll. We'll be publishing them also on our website at 11:30 today. And so now the technical briefing. At our head table today, we have sitting next to Dwight Duncan, Heather Grondin, Vice President of Communications and Stakeholder Relations at Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority. Sitting next to Heather, we have Tom Middlebrook with Bridging North America. And sitting next to Tom, we have Alfonso Sanchez with Bridging North America. They will be taking us through the technical presentation. Following the presentation, we will take your questions. Some of them will be answered by Dwight, Heather, and Tom and Alfonso. Others will be answered by technical experts we have in the front row, both from Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, from our owner's engineer, Parsons, Michigan Department of Transportation, the Governor's Office, and Bridging North America. So, by way of introduction, if I can do this right now, if I can ask our technical experts to stand as I call your names. Leslie Martin, our Executive Vice President, Engineering and Operations at WDBA. Kevin Wilkinson, our Interim Chief Financial Officer at WDBA. Bruce Campbell, our project manager with Parsons, which is the owner's engineer for WDBA. Alfonso Sanchez is at the front table, and he moved from my notes. Kyle Mawini from Bridging North America. Rafael Maidens, also from Bridging North America. And Jose Maria Morejon from Bridging North America. Mohammed Al-Gharabi from Michigan Department of Transportation. And Andy Doctoroff representing the Office of Michigan Governor Rick Schneider. So without any further delay, I'll ask Heather and Tom to start the technical presentation.
Great, thank you, Mark. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, great. We'll get started then. To kick off our technical briefing, we'll talk a little bit first about the P3 model. As you all know, the Gordie Howe International Bridge project is being delivered as a P3, or a public-private partnership. We're using the design, build, finance, operate, and maintain delivery model. P3 projects are long-term performance-based projects, and they're a modern way of procuring public infrastructure. They're represented as being a cooperative venture between a public sector entity, in this case WDBA, and a private sector partner, in this case Bridging North America. The partnership is built on expertise of each entity to best meet very clearly defined public needs and requirements, and the partnership is based primarily on an appropriate allocation of risk. There are a number of key benefits and features to using the P3 model. Standalone projects or assets such as a bridge feature very well and fit very well into the P3 delivery model. And in projects like this, the project phases are integrated into one contract. So for this project, we have the design build phase and then the operations and maintenance phase. We rely on a consortium of experts, so companies with different expertise that meet the requirements of the project come together to form one company. And the private sector's expertise is applied to deliver a project as they've delivered other similar projects around the world. The private sector partner finances the capital costs, and this investment is recovered over the term of the agreement. As was indicated in the chair's speaking notes, the contract is outcome-based. The public sector specifies requirements, and the private sector partner determines the best way to meet those requirements. This model also focuses heavily on risk transfer. The agreement identifies which risks are allocated to which of the two partners. In addition, a whole life cycle approach is taken. The private sector partner has a responsibility not only for the design and build phase, but also for the long-term operations phase, and therefore makes investment decisions that reflect that. Finally, payments. The private sector is repaid, the public sector repays the private sector based on certified completion of activities throughout construction as well as through the operations phase. This approach aligns financial incentives for on-time delivery. And as Dwight mentioned, value for money. A value for money assessment was done for this project, and it has been identified that in most P3s, there is a value for money that takes place as a result of this approach. Moving on to the responsibilities of each partner on this project. Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority was incorporated in 2012, and our staffing and operations began in 2014. We're a not-for-profit Canadian Crown Corporation, and our mandate is to oversee the delivery of the Gordie Howe International Bridge through a P3. It's important to note that while we do have Bridging North America now on board as our private sector partner, WDBA will continue to play a very significant role throughout the delivery of the project. We're responsible for stringent oversight. We will direct all project activities. We will be managing payments to Bridging North America. During the operations, in advance of the operations phase, we will set the tolls, and then during operations, we will manage those tolls and convey those to the Government of Canada. We will also be responsible for continued relationships with our key partners on this project, such as the State of Michigan. This is WDBA's organizational chart. As you know, we're overseen by a board of directors. We also have an international authority, which is a joint Canada-Michigan entity that was established to oversee and approve key steps in our P3 procurement process, as well as monitor our compliance with the crossing agreement that was signed between Canada and Michigan in 2012. WDBA reports to Parliament through the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. Our relationship with Bridging North America is governed by a project agreement. I stated we work very closely with a number of partners, including the state of Michigan and the Michigan Department of Transportation and other various Canadian and U.S. federal organizations. So I'll turn it over to Bridging North America.
Thank you, Heather. Good morning, everybody. Bridging North America's role for this project, as you would have seen from the video that played before and previous media activity on this, there's 4 major components in the project. There's a bridge itself, there's a Canadian port of entry, there's a U.S. port of entry, as well as the Michigan Interchange. And what the slide attempts to depict is, as Heather described, the full P3 process, which is through design, construction, and operations and maintenance. That is being conducted for 3 of the 4 stages of the project. That it would be for both POEs and the bridge. However, the Michigan Interchange is strictly a design-build type project with financing, and it will be handed over at the end of construction to MDOT for carrying on. Our organization structure is what we term, and we believe it's one of the best approaches to delivering a project of this magnitude, is through all stages of design, construction, and operations and maintenance, we have what we call a vertically integrated structure. So the same team members that are in each of the boxes for design and construction and for maintenance, we're there represented in all areas. We are bound by a project agreement with the WDBA, and then through those agreements, the terms of those agreements are passed through various agreements to each of the construction contractor, to the OM contractor, and then the construction contractor flows down through to its designer, which in this case is AECOM. We are tied together through an interface agreement too, so to make sure that design and build and the operations maintenance people work cohesively together to deliver a unified project that is there for the long term, for our term of the 36 years, but then for the longer term of the 125 years, which is the project outcome expectancies. Our team experiences, as was noted in the video, we've done a number of international projects. We've done cross-border projects, a number of cable stay bridges around the world, in Europe and North America as well. So we've worked together previously on the Herb Gray project. So we have a long-term standing with the community, and we're prepared to progress this project, and we're fully committed as the WDBA's partner.
So as I stated in the summary of P3 features and benefits, one feature of a P3 model is risk distribution. This slide demonstrates generically how risks are being distributed on this project, with Bridging North America taking on key risks related to design, the construction, and availability of the lanes once we're in the operations. There are also a number of shared risks, so site availability is shared, environmental aspects are shared, as well as permits. This is a very typical approach in P3 projects. So we're going to move on and talk a little bit more about contract details. As Dwight Duncan mentioned, we have arranged and have reached a fixed price contract with Bridging North America. Our contract value for the Gordie Howe International Bridge project is $5.7 billion. To break that down a little bit, for the design, build, and finance phase, that's $3.8 billion, and the operations, maintenance, and finance phase is $1.9 billion. The length of the term of the contract is 36 years. As a fixed price contract, I said the private sector partner assumes risks related to material costs, and over the 36 years is when we'll be paying the $5.7 billion. As mentioned, a value for money assessment was done of this project. It was identified that the agreement has allowed for an optimal balance between quality and costs, with an appropriate sharing of resources, risks, and benefits. And to reiterate, it has been estimated that by using a P3 model, we have saved $560 million, or just about 11%. In terms of the payment structure, WDBA will provide progress payments for Bridging North America during the construction phase of the project based on works completed as identified in their schedule. All works will be verified by WDBA, an independent certifier, and a lender's technical advisor before payment is made. WDBA will also provide a payment at substantial completion. During the operations and maintenance phase, WDBA will provide monthly payments for the duration of 30 years. These payments will be for operations and maintenance costs, life cycle costs, and capital and financing costs.
So the construction schedule at a very high level, again, indicating the major stages of it. So we're in project startup now. Some early work has already been undertaken after a preferred proponent. The design and construction stages are over the next 2 years. We're going to be fully completing the design. That does not mean we don't start construction until after design is completed. We'll also be starting construction during that time period. We're looking at a 6-year construction period, just over 6 years. And towards the back end of the construction period, there's going to be a lot of turnover and commissioning of the facilities. Again, it's very complex facilities for the ports of entry, and the bridge will be well built and constructed and ready for operation at that time. So generally speaking, we're looking for overall handover of the project at the end of 2024.
As part of WDBA's project oversight role, we have a number of mechanisms in place to ensure compliance with the terms of the contract that we've reached with Bridging North America. Bridging North America will comply with all of the requirements set out in our quality assurance and quality control requirements. WDBA may issue non-compliance in case of failure to meet the PA requirements. WDBA has hired Parsons as our owner's engineer. This is our technical advisor to assist in design review. They will also conduct quality audits, field observations, quality verification testing, and reporting. We've also contracted an independent certifier who will verify work that's completed to allow for construction progress payments. Bridging North America is also required to provide frequent, regular reports on work progress and schedule updates to WDBA. Additionally, the independent certifier is required to provide monthly and quarterly progress update reports to WDBA. There are events that may occur resulting in impacts to project cost and schedule. This slide identifies examples of those type of events. Some examples are relief events. So these would be events or circumstances that could lead to an extension of the project timeline. So these would be things like a general strike. There are also compensation events, which are events or circumstances that could result in financial compensation, such as unknown contaminated soil, hazardous materials, or the discovery of protected species at risk. Finally, there are authority changes. So WDBA may, at our own cost, require amendments to the project agreement, such as changes to technical specifications. So moving on to a bit more detail about the project components. As Tom identified, there are 4 key components to the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. Of course, the bridge itself, the Canadian port of entry, the US port of entry, and the Michigan Interchange.
So to tackle this complex project, as we've identified, there's 4 components. There's actually 3 phases: the design, build, and the operation and maintenance. 2 countries, but we have 1 integrated team. And so that is the approach that we're taking, as I noted earlier, in our organization structure, where all of our companies are reflected through all phases of our organization. That is how we're going to deliver as well. We have, in the design and build phase especially, we have a series of what we call technical working groups. And these technical working groups will be working across each of the components and cross-component work to make sure that the technical solutions are completely effectively delivered. We have project-wide standards for quality, health and safety, aesthetics, durability, and schedule. And so each of the technical working groups will all be working towards that as well. The U.S. port of entry is a little larger in size, 167 acres or 68 hectares, and it's going to be one of the largest U.S. ports along the border and in North America. And again, it features the same facilities as Canada, except for the Bridging North America facilities. So it has U.S. inbound border inspection facilities for both passenger and commercial vehicles, U.S. outbound inspection facilities, commercial exit control booths, and parking. And in the U.S. side, we'll be designing and building our facilities in accordance with the International Bridge Codes, Michigan Building Code, and General Service Administration standards. The fourth component, the Michigan Interchange, consists of primary connecting ramps to and from the U.S. port of entry and associated local road improvements that will be required for the project. 3 kilometers or 1.8 miles of I-75 requires modifications to accommodate the ramps to the U.S. BOE. There's a significant piece of construction with over a dozen roadway and pedestrian bridges ranging in length from 100 to 1,700 feet. The design and construction standards will be AASHTO MDOT criterion foundation design shall be in accordance with MDOT bridge design manuals. Again, we're going to be working with a 125-year design service life for this project. And once construction complete, MDOT will assume ownership and responsibility for the Michigan Interchange.
Thank you. So now we'll touch on a few more specific details about some aspects of the project, including aesthetics, community benefits, and tolling.
So, as Chair Duncan mentioned, it's going to be the best and most beautiful project. So that's the aesthetic standards in a nutshell. We have a lot of very kind of strong words that were not imposed, but were required as part of the project agreement, and we have responded to that with our design. So an impressive, inspiring new gateway, distinctive design that demonstrates modern, friendly, state-of-the-art infrastructure, bridge design that has a high level aesthetic quality, and POE architecture and landscape designs that showcases functionality, design excellence, sustainability, and barrier-free accessibility. The guiding principle. So, you know, again, it's best and most beautiful, but its primary aesthetic framework of contemporary minimalism with simplicity, clean lines, good proportions, openness, transparency, lightness, with secondary layers of materiality, color, textures, and public art that respond to site-specific, context-related themes. And we've considered aesthetics in all aspects of the project, so from the cable stayed bridge, port of entry buildings, pedestrian accesses, canopies, landscaping, lighting, etc. The most important, what we feel one of the most important aspects of this project is for trade and for commercial usage. So designing for commercial users has been an absolute pivotal kind of requirement and thought through all of the project. So we're using very much advanced technology to incorporate into the bridge and the port of entries, and it's all with the view of mobility for commercial use. Hazardous materials will be accepted in safe and secure holding areas, and there's agri-food considerations incorporated in the design with the FDA and Canadian Food Inspection Agency as well. They're going to be located in the facilities. So the benefits for the commercial users is obviously technology is going to be very much at play for this, but there's going to be reduced travel time and border wait, bypassing municipal roads, fewer intersections en route to the crossing, convenient customized payment mechanisms, and single window and e-manifest programs for more efficient border crossing. This project is a shoot through from the I-75 to the 401. And no more cluttering of the downtown streets of Windsor, and it's going to be, we think, a fantastic addition to this area.
In terms of tolling, WDBA will set competitive tolls for all vehicle classes. As a not-for-profit Crown Corporation, WDBA does not receive the toll revenue. The toll revenue is provided to the Government of Canada. In advance of the operations phase of the project, WDBA will undertake an extensive consultation program with future users to get a sense of what rate we should be setting the tolls at, and we will expect to begin that in a few years. So moving on to another aspect of the project, which is community benefits. We've talked at length over the last 3 years about community benefits for this project. Community benefits and having a community benefits plan is a requirement set out in the crossing agreement signed between Michigan and Canada in 2012. We've established a vision or a framework for community benefits called the iCare framework, which we announced a few years ago. And this is based on the principles that the community benefits plan for this project needs to be an integrated component into the overall delivery of the project, both through the design, construction, and through the operations and maintenance phase. That it's to be collaborative, both between WDBA, the state of Michigan, and Bridging North America, as well as with the community. It needs to be accessible. The community needs to be availed of reporting, and it should be easy to understand. As well, it should be regional. The community benefits plan needs to reflect the unique nature of the Windsor-Detroit communities and what this region has to offer. As well, it needs to be enterprising. It needs to be comprised of new methods and ideas and innovative approaches that relate to the innovative approach that we were delivering with the Gordie Howe International Bridge. WDBA has undertaken a consultation program related specifically to community benefits, which began in 2015 and extended through into this year. Over that time, we received well over 230 unique ideas and suggestions of what people would like to see included in this community benefits plan. During the RFP phase in the open period, WDBA provided all of those ideas and suggestions to our 3 proponent teams so they could consider those and incorporate them into their proposal that they were including in their technical proposals. As a result of consultation, we heard a few very specific things from the community. We have heard from the community that having workforce opportunities as related to this project was important to them, but we also heard that was important was also doing some additional work outside of the traditional project scope that will directly impact and have a positive impact on the neighborhoods. In response to that, we have developed our community benefits plan, so that's comprised of 2 key components. The first component is the workforce development and participation strategy, and the second is a neighborhood infrastructure strategy. The workforce development and participation strategy supports the expectation that residents and businesses within the region will be able to participate in and have economic opportunities as a result of the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. This focuses primarily on workforce opportunities, training opportunities, and apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeship opportunities in the manner consistent with the crossing agreement. The neighborhood infrastructure strategy is separate from the workforce strategy and is just one component of our overall community benefits approach. This includes a $20 million neighborhood infrastructure investment for initiatives that are consistent with the crossing agreement and reflect the key regional priorities that we heard were important to community members through our consultation. As I stated, the workforce development and participation strategy really does focus on how we can engage local residents and contractors in this project. There are 3 subcomponents to this strategy. The first is a section with respect to how Bridging North America intends to achieve a goal that we've set that at least $250 million of the total value of work during the design and build phase that is completed in Canada will be performed by, contracted to, or supplied by the people or contractors in Windsor or within 100 kilometers of Windsor. A next section is with respect to how Bridging North America will engage and employ Canadian Indigenous people and contract their businesses. The third component is a section with respect to engaging and employing Detroit residents and contracting Detroit-based and Detroit-headquartered businesses. In addition to the above and specific to the work done in the U.S., there is a goal of 2.15% of the cost of construction engineering work needed to complete the Michigan Interchange, and the U.S. portion of the bridge will be completed by disadvantaged business enterprises. In regard to the neighborhood infrastructure strategy, this strategy relates specifically to some of those key priorities that we've heard during our consultation. So what we've heard from the community is that community partnerships are important to them. Lessening the effects and impacts of construction and operations issues is important. As well, putting a focus on community safety and connectivity is important, as well as providing for additional aesthetics and landscaping opportunities. The Neighborhood Infrastructure Fund will be provided to allow for, or the Neighborhood Infrastructure Strategy will allow for us to be able to undertake some of those activities. In terms of next steps and finalizing the plan, One thing that we heard loud and clear throughout our consultation process is that the community wanted to have a role in finalizing the community benefits plan. In response to that, we have set aside a 6-month period for Bridging North America to finalize their community benefits plan. So starting in October, the consultation process will begin, and we'll be able to present a final community benefits plan in early 2019. This final plan will include information both to the workforce development and participation strategy and the neighborhood infrastructure strategy. We will be presenting on a number of the initiatives that we've heard from people through the consultation period and looking to get ongoing feedback on that to form the final community benefits plan. So I'll ask Tom to talk about some of their Bridging North America's vision.
So thank you, Heather. So it didn't start in October. It started a long time ago during the actual bid stage that we were working with the community and soliciting feedback and understanding what the needs were. So our work now, carrying on from October on, is to carry on that foundation piece that was already put in place. We're aware of the critical importance of providing the positive, sustainable benefits for the communities, and our core value is to make a positive and lasting difference in the communities where we work. And that's just not here, that's everywhere where we work. Our team members are known worldwide for the ability to connect people and economies with these types of projects, and we have a reputation for sustainable socioeconomic environmental benefits in communities where we work. And our vision is to deliver a series of initiatives based on public input that create measurable and positive results-based opportunities for the communities. Public input is absolutely important and pivotal to the delivery of the community benefits plan, and BNA will be engaging with the community through the life of the project. We have a number of initiatives in the plan, but establishing community partnerships, working with the community to review safety and making connections, focusing our efforts to lessen the effects of construction operations, promoting aesthetic benefits or economic benefits, and enhancing the aesthetics and landscaping. Our approach to workforce development and labor, the construction of the operation of the bridge will bring thousands of jobs, as Chair Duncan previously mentioned. We anticipate the creation of at least 2,500 direct jobs during the construction period, and we're currently working with national provincial labor associations to review workforce requirements during construction and operation. As Heather mentioned, Michigan will be looking at least over 2% of the US-related contract values anticipated for DBEs. And in Canada, we're looking at least at $250 million for the local economy within 100 kilometers or in Windsor itself.
So as part of the consultation that we undertook over the last few years, WDBA heard a number of other ideas and suggestions that we chose to include as project requirements. Some of these concepts are new requirements to the project, and other ones enhance existing requirements. These two are benefits to the project and will be implemented above and beyond the neighborhood infrastructure strategies that I just spoke of. So a few of these examples are, of course, something that we've talked quite a bit about, which is the multi-use path that was included in the bridge. Through consultation, we heard from the communities on both sides of the border how important it was to include that option in the bridge design, and that is something that we have included. In addition, we've heard about the importance of green space and native species within our ports of entry. And it's interesting to note that the green space within the two POEs is equivalent to 225 football fields. I'm told that's US football fields. We're also going to be undertaking some significant improvements along Sandwich Street, and there is some information in your media kits about that. We will be also doing local road improvements in Detroit, which were requirements set out through the environmental impact statement. As a result of consultation on that requirement, we were able to announce that we're moving one of the pedestrian bridges at Morrell Street to Junction Street so that people can have direct access to the CHAS clinic. Our project also includes public art, and specifically at the Canadian Port of Entry, there will be aesthetic building facades and a standalone First Nations piece, which includes the mentoring of a First Nation youth. The bridge itself will include dramatic lighting at night, which in itself is considered to be public art. In response to interest that we've heard, we will be including a Peregrine Falcon box on the bridge. The buildings at the ports of entry will be built to be LEED Silver certified, and as well the bridge and the adjacent roadways will be Envision Silver, receive an Envision Silver rating. A number of our facilities will also have green roofs. There's additional details about these aspects of the project on the videos that are on your USB drives in your media kits, and these videos will also be posted to our website. So, getting into conclusion, as we stated, the Gordie Howe International Bridge project is one of the largest infrastructure projects in North America, and it will bring significant economic benefit to the Windsor, Essex, and Detroit regions. The new bridge will encourage investment between Canada and the US and help to maintain and create thousands of jobs and opportunities on both sides of the border. In addition, this new transportation infrastructure will address 4 key regional transportation needs. It will provide for redundancy, it will provide for capacity for long-term travel demand, it will be the only crossing in the area that provides highway-to-highway connections or system connectivity, and with amongst the largest border ports of entry at any border between Canada and the US, there will be improved border processing. This project will provide positive impact for the flow of traffic and goods through this key gateway, and will keep our national economies growing. Before we move on, one final slide, which is a save the date. WDBA is very pleased to host a community event next Friday as a celebration of the milestone achievement that we're announcing today, and also to celebrate the start of construction of the project. So we're inviting public to celebrate with us at the Senator David A. Kroll Park in downtown Windsor from noon to 1:30 next Friday for a barbecue and festivities to really celebrate the start of this significant project.